One of the things that I love the most about psychology, one of the reasons why I love being a psychologist so much, is because personality is so interesting and fascinating. People are all so different, have so many different types of personalities. And also, when people struggle and deal with really difficult situations or life circumstances, each person gets the freedom, choice, and creativity to try to figure out what healthy things will work for them to try to get through the situation, to try to build resilience. That really has to be one of the underlying goals of everyone alive, is not just to stay alive, but to figure out how to be more resilient in the face of challenges, because life is full of so many unpredictable negative events. So, how can you be more resilient? What are some of the things that you do when you deal with really difficult times and you are forced to open up that toolbox that you have of different coping skills, good, positive, healthy coping skills? What do you turn to? That's what we're going to talk a little bit about today. And one of the things that I want to focus on is a word that I think sometimes people come to think of in a very narrow definition, and that is faith. Faith. So a lot of people associate that word faith with religion, or even maybe particular kinds of religion. For me, I associate the word faith with a belief in a power that is bigger than you, in a universal power. And it could be any number of things. People really can define their faith in different ways. Here's a question, though, that I really think it's important when we're talking about this to ask yourself honestly about. So here's my question to you, and you can answer in the chat. Do you believe that you have faith? Are you someone who would say has faith in a hopeful future, a bright future, even when things are difficult? Do you operate from a place of faith? Is that a goal that you even have? I would argue on a daily basis, perhaps one of the number one things we should focus on each day is having some faith, holding on to some faith that things can be better in the future when life is really, really, really difficult. Now, it's not just simply that life gets better, right? Faith alone is really not enough for people to live by, but faith plus taking positive actions, positive, healthy actions to improve your circumstances, focusing on the things that you can control rather than just like waiting for something to get better. Or what's worse, maybe turning cynical and bitter and angry that things are this way, that things aren't better, focusing on you feeling like you deserve more or life shouldn't have worked out this way. People who have faith, which means focusing on the possibility that things can get better and will get better in time, believing in that blind faith, even when there is no evidence or proof. That makes an enormous difference in a person's psychological outlook, in their mindset. Just having faith and saying, I don't need proof. I don't need evidence. I do see around me that things do look bleak right now. I don't know how I will make things work. I don't know if this is going to work out okay. I am scared. I am scared. First of all, just being honest with yourself. Sometimes we lose touch with even what the root feeling is that we are responding to when life gets really hard. Some people may switch immediately to anger and start getting irritable and having anger temper tantrums. Other people may be more prone to getting depressed, feeling helpless, lying in bed and really having difficulty getting out. Well, what can we do that is positive to take action and make things better? What can we do today in these moments, every single day? The discipline of positive actions, the consistency, you being reliable and showing up for your life. doing what's required of you, meeting your responsibilities, not focusing on what you want to do, not focusing on that, but focusing on what you know will be best for you, ultimately, in the long run. Each one of us, when we deal with really difficult circumstances, maybe something bad happened, maybe you're dealing with the unknown and what might lie ahead, it can be very tempting to focus or even fixate on all the negative truths today. And so somebody saying to you, you have to have faith that things could get better. A lot of times that does not feel satisfying. But one of the things you might be forgetting if you are not tapping into that hopeful faith is that you may be telling yourself that faith is just a passive process, that faith means waiting, that faith just means hoping. No, to me, that's not my definition of faith. I am not a religious person, as one example. I am a spiritual person. To me, faith is saying, I will be hopeful that things will get better, but today, take the steps that I am in control of taking to try to meet my responsibilities, that I choose today to focus on my responsibilities, to do what is required of me, to try to be positive in my relationships, and wait for it, maybe even help somebody else today if that's possible, because focusing on the fear, the anxiety, the unknown is not going to be helpful. So there is a sort of metaphor that I like to think about when it comes to faith. And I remember one time I heard someone talking about the importance of looking at your difficult circumstances and thinking about faith as a boat, this boat that is invisible, that you can't even see, but you need to get into that boat and row towards something better, towards something positive. Even if you feel like you don't have an oar, you just row. You row and you keep rowing. We keep putting one foot in front of another. We don't focus on the negative, but we take positive action and we focus on the things that we can control. You keep rowing, and sooner or later, you will find yourself experiencing some positive benefits from that resilience. You row even when you don't have an oar. Now, I want to ask you all a question. The more positive actions you take, even when you're scared, even when you're frightened and afraid that maybe it's not going to be okay, even when the little kid in you comes out and is screaming and crying and you are afraid, the more positive actions you take, even when you're scared, even when you're afraid, even when you feel like it's inconvenient and all you want to do is just focus on feeling bad because you don't have the energy to try to keep your chin up and try to do what's required of you today, that is when you grow. That is when you actually begin to have faith in what is the most important thing of all, which is also yourself. You start to have faith that you know how to take care of yourself, even during hard times. And sooner or later, the harder you try, you are going to be okay. It's not just faith alone, it's faith plus daily positive actions. And I am here cheering you on. Let me be a cheerleader for you. As we close, one thing that can be helpful is for you to think about the root feeling that you have. And so often for people, it is feeling scared. It is feeling scared about the future, scared that something might happen, scared that something that you need to happen won't happen, but scared. So leave a comment in the chat. What are you afraid might happen? If you feel scared about the future, what exactly are you scared of? You know what? When you leave that comment in the comments section, somebody else who sees this video, they may actually get inspiration. They might get a helpful idea from you too. It is not just experts in this world that have something valuable to say. We all have lived experience. We have all survived circumstances, and you sharing some of what has worked for you and you sharing your own emotional experience in an honest way can help make somebody else know that they are not alone. You have a community. You are not the only person who is struggling, even though it can often feel that way. There are cheerleaders everywhere for you.